Welcome to the VANTEC Angel Network monthly meeting. We're on the home stretch. We're almost into summer. Look at that beautiful weather out the window. Okay, we've been meeting every single month since April 1999, and that's almost a quarter century. Okay, so we're lucky to have our founder, Mike Volker, here with us. Quarter century, Mike. All right, so we'll just go through the program for today. With gratitude and respect, we acknowledge that we are gathered on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. Now, for almost a quarter century, all of us, a group of us, we're a group of angel investors who support BC-based high-growth ventures with capital, obviously, connections, and advice. And the last two are actually very, very important. We have more than 180 members, and we've seen a lot of companies, and we've been more than 3,000 companies presented since 1999, and more than 5,000 companies have actually received investments from our group. So give yourselves a pat on the back. To grow the angel investor community here, we're helped by others. It takes a village. We're helped by the Canadian federal government with its NRC IRAP program. We're also members of two professional angel associations, the Canadian-based National Angel Capital Organization, of which VANTEC is a founder, NACO, and the American-based ACA Angel Capital Association. So how have we done? You can see that we've made quite a lot of investments, and last year we did over $16 million of investment in our local startups that have come through the VANTEC process. We're supported by NRC IRAP, NACO, and ACA. And each year we send out emails to you all to please complete the survey, because this is the data that we use to figure out how our angel investing community is growing. We have a number of funds that are associated with VANTEC, eFund, WoodIF, and of course, we've done a lot of investments just as individual investors. Hope that you are, if you're not already, that you will become full members. There's a lot of benefits to it. We meet every single month, and then we network over drinks and bites. If you're a full member, you can bring a free guest. You get access to presentation recordings and the company profiles. If you're an online member, you do get to attend the online meetings, and you get access to the recordings after the presentations, and of course the company profiles. Even better, if you're a member of one of our partner groups like WoodIF or eFund, your full membership comes at a discount. I'd like to thank our annual sponsors. Some of them have been with us right from the beginning. So a shout out to Fasken, Tandem Group, Western Pacific Trust Company, Raymond James, OKR Financial, Go Recruitment, InWest Ventures, and of course, SFU Venture Labs, who is our venue sponsor. We've got this beautiful venue to showcase all of our local entrepreneurs. We have a number of community partners. We've already mentioned eFund and WoodIF, but we are also do a lot of close work with Kretzy Forum, Rocket Builders, Go Recruitment, Tandem, Volition, Spring, and of course our professional organizations, ACA and NACO. So our agenda today, we're going to start off with community announcements. Right from the beginning, we've always emphasized the importance of community. And we'll hear from a couple of people. Then we'll follow through with company presentations, and then we will network online and in person. So with regards to the presentation, we always want feedback, because a lot has changed over And with your feedback, we've been able to tweak the program to become better. And we could always improve all the time. All right, so I'd like to call up the first of the community announcements. It will be from our community manager, Roger Killen.
Hello, my fellow VANTECers and most welcome guests. I'm Roger Killen, your community manager. And what does that mean, you think to yourself? It means that I help all our VANTEC members get as enriching and fulfilling an experience from their VANTEC membership as possible. Felzel mentioned that a part of our mission is to grow the angel investor community in British Columbia. And the way we've chosen to do that is to ask you, our members, to please bring a guest to each of our meetings. We have 11 meetings a year. Your guests come for free. They get exposed to approximately 15 companies that are looking for support of some shape, size, or form. They get delicious networking to follow. They meet all sorts of like-minded people. Everyone wins when we grow the angel network community in British Columbia. So please support us for the next few meetings. Please bring a guest. As I say, everyone wins. Roger and out. And this is where you give me the first amazing applause. Vigorous, please.
Thank you, Roger, our fearless community manager. Next up is Dave Thomas from SFU Venture Labs.
Great, thank you very much, Felzel. Welcome to Venture Labs for those of you who are here for the first time. Just one public service announcement. Venture Labs with the Discovery Foundation has a program called Digital Marketing Boost. And that program helps companies with their marketing. So if you have a portfolio company or you are an early stage company, which would like a little bit of assistance with brochures, websites, other things, that program opens for applications on May 8th, and it's available on the Venture Labs website. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dave. Okay, we also have a number of other investor events and also for entrepreneurs as well for community events. Just take a look at our website, vantec.ca. And scroll over to the calendar and click on today's event on May 3rd, and you will see this on the agenda. So hopefully we will see you at these events. Okay, a little bit of housekeeping. Online presenters, please mute yourself when you're not presenting. Phone, anything that beeps, please turn that off. We want to hear you when it's your turn to speak, not other things. And of course, the big deal is network. Please, if you're online, please identify yourself as a community member, an investor, or the company. If you're in person, lucky us, place yourself in the square on the floor and keep the microphone close for the best audio. And there is a remote to help you advance your slides. Okay, for entrepreneurs, again, it's network. Just make sure that you present, keep your information up to date because that is being shared with other groups in our region. We share your GUS profile with the other members of VANTEC. Not only that, we're part of the ACA Pacific Northwest region, and every month I join that group and I promote our full presenters from VANTEC. And believe me, most of them have received good interest from south of the border and even money. Okay, if you're not already hooked into our wireless Wi-Fi, here's the information. Just take a quick little picture of it right now before we move on. Okay, and then after we do all the presentations, we will have a flurry of activity to move the tables. So the companies will have specific tables at which they will stay at so that you could quiz them more about their company. And here's the map there. So any helping hands is greatly appreciated. Okay, with that, I believe we're going to start the presentations. This is how you can contact us. And I'm going to call up our founder, Mike Volker, who will introduce all of our quick 90-second pitches.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Thelzel, and thanks to all of you for joining us today. So today we have just under half a dozen updates and previews. We've got one update and a number of previews. These are 90 seconds, so we'll move through them quickly. So the first one is by HOP, which is helping female, is that you? Helping female entrepreneurs reach their wellness goals through expert-led short-form content, personalized with the help of the ever popular word these days, AI. Never heard of it. AI, you mean, what's that? Oh, it was a funny story. I have to tell you this real quickly. This friend of mine was in Salmon Arm last week, and he was talking to his grandmother. And she said, "What are you doing these days?" And he said, "Well, I'm at Princeton now." And she said, "Oh, Princeton, I didn't know Princeton had a university." Of course, she's thinking Princeton, British Columbia, right? And he said, "No, yeah, I'm going to Princeton." And she said, "What are you studying there?" And she said, "AI." And she said, "Well, that's wonderful. We can really use that on the farm." You get that, right? Okay, your turn.
Well, nothing for farms. Good. Hello, everyone. My name is Jamie, and I'm the founder and CEO of HOP. After years in a high-profile media job, I became exceptionally stressed out. It really took a toll on my health. I needed something that was manageable, so I started to look around, and I'm not the only one. There's over 4 billion health and wellness-related TikToks about the topic, but many people vent frustrations not being able to sort through the information. Further, 75% of people want a program that's personalized towards them. This is particularly important because people realize now that these strict, trendy routines are on their way out. So we created HOP, which stands for Health Optimization Program, which is expert-led short-form content across all dimensions of wellness. This is everything from mental and physical health to financial and sexual wellness. Furthermore, we're building a very supportive community. And of course, the AI personal coach, which will lead to faster attainment of wellness goals, irrespective of time or financial constraint. And we actually just agreed on an exciting partnership yesterday about this space. Our team expands from everybody from the early people at Quibi to advisors from Binance and AWS. So we have some exciting milestones coming up, including hiring different developers, the release of our community platform, the release of the AI, reaching our first 1,000 users, as well as hosting some events in the community. We are raising $800,000 Canadian, EBC approved, and this will help us reach the different milestones, including hiring developers and producing more content. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, we have Martin to tell us about Hexagon Power Technologies, renewable energy solutions for modular home builders, providing seamless integration of solar battery generators and more into your products. Martin.
Thank you. Welcome. Can you hear me in the back? Is it good? Perfect. All right. I'm Martin. We're 4 engineers at Hexagon. We spent 10 years in a research lab to find a solution to a big problem. You know that solar power, electric vehicle battery chargers, battery storage generators, most people need them and actually want them. The intention for purchase of these technologies could be 50% when there is a power outage, even 80%, more than 61 for a generator. But the issue is that there are key barriers for adoption. It's very difficult. They're costly, technologically complex. It makes it hard for, to purchase. They're bulky. And ultimately, you're making a 10, 20 years or 50 years investment that you don't know if it's going to work. So how do you get all of this? A hint, my home is not ready. Your home is not ready for all of this. At Hexagon, we created an energy system that can be installed in new homes by builders, and they can take those buildings, those homes into the future to seamlessly integrate solar, EVs, fuel cells, and much more. Now, that's deep tech, and we're opening a new market that has a potential for about 2 billion. But that's only the beginning. Thank you. We invite you to participate. I just hit the 90 seconds so fast. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Yep, 90 seconds is fast. I believe the next presentation is online, TruCelium. This is a company that What If has been taking a close look at, so pay attention, please.
Yeah, TruCelium is building the second largest in the world and Canada's first mycelium mushroom growing facility to meet rising demand. We filed patents on and secured patents on novel ingredients you're about to hear about, and our team is best in class, including the recently retired president of McCain Foods, Jeff DeLapp, who's our CEO. Our board of advisors has notable members like one of the most famous CEOs of McDonald's, Ed Renzi, but someone you might know there, Mike Boudreau, who's the CEO of Tech Brew Robotics. But why functional mushrooms? Well, you've heard a lot about these in the press, probably that TV show, The Last of Us, but lion's mane and cordyceps are exploding due to COVID. And this has really increased people's awareness for functional ingredients. And it's led to a significant supply and demand problem, which is why we're building this facility. It takes about 2 years to start a facility, so that's a big barrier to entry. And we're about 30 days till lights on. Our facility is in Coldstream, Alberta. It's almost 50,000 square feet. And it's there that we're going to make products like Mycolite. And it's important to understand Mycolite is novel, it's proprietary. It's about to be launched nationwide in PetSmart Canada in the world's first whole mushroom dog treat. And that's on September 1st. We also have global rights to water-soluble mushroom powder, the only of its kind in the world that's whole mushroom instead of extracted. If we get to the ask, the raise is left is 925,000. We've raised 2.1 million already. It's a valuation of 11.75. Our investors range from across the US and Canada from notable companies. So we'd like to answer any questions when you guys have a chance.
Okay, I think that's it. We don't do Q&A for these sessions, but those are done privately.
Gotcha.
Hopefully.
My apologies.
Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, and our final presentation is Canyon Gold and Gravel. Brian.
Thank you. Brian Hoff, Canyon Gold and Gravel. Our project's a gravel and gold project located in Hope, BC. We own 160 acres, fee simple. We own the gold rights. We own the gravel rights. Holmes Mining has consultants who are the largest company, gravel consultants in BC, have valued us at 50 million over a 33-year 8% discount. And that's based on unwashed gravel. We wash to get the gold out. So we're going to be worth double that. Total mine assets are over $1 billion, 100-year life of the mine. Permits are going to be issued this July. We'll be in production in September. We're 85% complete on the site for pre-production. There's a shortage of river gravel for buildings, highways, infrastructure, and gold prices. In the Lower Mainland, for a full year, we project our gross revenues at 13 million with net profits of 9 million. Dividends will be pushed out at about 6 million for 4 to 5 cents a share. Our audit is being completed for a Q3 non-prospectus listing on the Canadian Stock Exchange, CSE. We should be public by the end of June, early July. To date, we've raised almost $4 million on a one-to-one basis. We need another 3 million and money keeps flowing in because of the asset base. We're looking for a 10 to 15 times lift and a buyout by the multinationals. There's 4 to 5 of them in the Lower Mainland, and we think that'll happen within a year to 2 years. We also own the largest flagstone quarry in Western Canada with 700 acres permitted and ready to go this spring. That'll bring another couple of $1 million of revenue in. And that's the company. Easy. You can drive there an hour and 40 minutes from Vancouver, and it's just a wonderful deal. So those that have missed the inflationary cycle and couldn't buy gold and silver and hard assets, we're the deal for you. It's only 15 cents a share right now. Thanks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian. Okay, so if you're an investor and you want to take a ride on this device, this comes out of Pemberton. It's an innovation created by a bunch of guys up in Pemberton. What If is hosting a little demonstration event tomorrow afternoon at exactly this time. So if you're interested in joining us, taking this thing for a spin and having some pizza and beer afterwards with an investor presentation, please come and see me. We've got 2 or 3 spots still available if you want to join us tomorrow and have some fun. Okay, and now I'm going to turn it over to Thelzel to take us through the full presentations. Thelzel.
Okay, the full presentations are a lot of fun, but before we move on to that, you'll see up on the screen and in chat a chance to vote for your favorite 90-second pitches. And I believe there's QR codes on the table as well. We had 4 of them today. So pick your favorites, because what will happen is that the top voted 90-second pitches will be invited back to VANTEC. They'll be pitching in front of a pre-screening committee. And if they are deemed worthy by our esteemed panelists, they'll get to do a full presentation. And speaking of full presentations, that's what's coming up next. We've got 4 full presentations now. They will be giving a 5-minute presentation, 5 minutes Q&A. And then if you still have questions, you'll have to wait till after all the presentations are done so that the tables can be moved and the companies will be standing at the tables. So first up, I'm going to ask Teal Lin to come up and tell us why he thinks the company that he's sponsoring, OnTraccr, is such a great company.
I'm Teal Lin. Thanks for the opportunity to be here. I guess the primary reasons that I decided to invest in OnTraccr almost a year ago, 2 primary reasons, basically the business model and the team. With respect to the business model, OnTraccr is a B2B SaaS company, and there really is no other way to see faster growth and company scaling than a successful SaaS company. And then with respect to the team, any team and any investment in a startup that's software based, you really want to have a strong technical co-founder. This team, they're all 3 UBC engineering graduates. The technical co-founder is Shane, who was handpicked by his engineering professor to pursue a startup idea that the professor had. And that company was, and then Syed ended up joining that company. It was sold to Philips. And the third, and Syed joined them after starting off at Cisco. And then the third co-founder, he went off and started in the construction industry. And on day 1, he thought there was a huge opportunity to disrupt an archaic industry that was ripe for disruption. So Syed, take it from here.
Thank you very much, Teal. Hi, everyone. I'm Syed from OnTraccr. OnTraccr is a no-code SaaS platform that helps construction companies automate their busy work so they can do more with less. Construction is one of the oldest and largest industries in history, yet companies are still managing their daily operations using inefficient and outdated methods. This includes things like paper and spreadsheets, outdated software, or more general purpose cloud software. And although more modern construction management software applications have existed in the market for quite some time now, the problem with these options is that they're all designed to be one-size-fits-all solutions. They're all designed to work a certain way for a certain kind of construction company that handles certain categories of construction work. And if you don't perfectly fit the mold of one of these ideal customers for a one-size-fits-all tool, you're out of luck because you can't really change the way the software works, which forces you to go back to using some paper and spreadsheets or to seek additional point solutions to cover some of those workflow gaps. The industry just needs a better option than this. And that's exactly where OnTraccr comes in. OnTraccr is introducing the industry to a completely different approach to how software can be used to manage a construction operation. OnTraccr is an all-in-one operational solution that can replace multiple different tools and in turn can eliminate manual data entry as much as possible from the field to the office. And it provides an unparalleled level of customization. We allow our customers to essentially build a custom business application without having to hire a single software developer. In the OnTraccr web app, managers and admins can design and control how all of the workflow should work across the entire company using a simple drag and drop interface. These workflows can touch everything from field operations to project management, even through to sales and service departments. And depending on how the workflows are constructed in the web app, that dictates how the mobile app will function for the field teams. where they can track their progress and gain access to all of the important project information and documents right from the job site. So the entire experience is highly customizable from end to end. We launched the OnTraccr beta just over 1 year ago now, and we've since grown our annual subscription revenues to over 250,000. On top of that, we were also named one of the top 3 emerging Canadian construction innovations in 2022 by the largest construction association in Canada. We've also started gaining a large organic following across all of our social media channels due to our highly active content marketing strategy. In a short period of time, we've already been able to validate the fact that OnTraccr's unique approach helps construction companies replace multiple different tools and do things with our software platform that they never thought possible before with an off-the-shelf product. Yes, we compete in a competitive market, but we have a highly differentiated product. In fact, OnTraccr is construction's first verticalized no-code platform that still provides companies with everything they need to manage their projects. There really isn't another tool like this on the market today. We collect money in multiple ways. First, we charge annual subscription fees based on the number of users using our platform every single month. On top of that, we charge service fees to handle training and onboarding services, and we offer a payment processing service where we collect a cut of every transaction that flows through our software. We also plan to monetize on the data captured in the OnTraccr platform using predictive AI and machine learning algorithms in the very near future. The total addressable market for OnTraccr globally is 29 billion, and we're confident we can achieve annual recurring revenues of 20 million in 5 years, providing you with a fantastic return on your investment today. We're on pace to exceed $500,000 in subscription revenue by the end of this year, hit profitability by next year, and break into 7 figures of subscription revenue beyond that. In addition to achieving some key revenue milestones and also even landing our first enterprise customer in a short period of time, we've also even filed for our first provisional patent, and we're now poised and ready to expand our team and accelerate our growth on our path to profitability next year. Our founding team consists of business and technical leaders with a proven track record of building startups with exits and construction domain expertise. On top of that, we also have a former president of Ledcor Group, one of the largest construction companies in North America, on our advisory board. We're currently seeking a few more investors to close out our $900,000 USD seed round, which will buy us 18 more months of runway on our path to profitability and positioning ourselves to secure our Series A growth round in Q1 of 2025. Thank you, and I hope you'll join us on our mission to automate construction management. All right, I think there's some time for some questions if anyone has any. Yeah.
Are you selling mainly in Canada and the US?
Correct, yes. Sorry, the question was, are we primarily selling in Canada and the US? And the answer is yes. We started off by selling only to Canadian companies, but since Q4 of last year, we just entered the US market. So as of now, 3/4 of our customer base are Canadian, with the remainder being US based.
Oh, I thought somebody was asking online. I thought there was quite a bit of software and project management capability out there. What makes you different?
Yeah, great question. And there absolutely is. You're not wrong. The problem is the market is highly fragmented. And it's highly fragmented because all of these construction management tools are designed to be one size fits all. They're designed for certain kinds of construction work. So for example, you have a lot of apps out there for residential home builders. And you have other apps out there for commercial enterprise grade general contractors. You have other software out there for subcontractors that do commercial residential. But if you're a construction company that dips into multiple sectors of construction, you're going to have a hard time using these tools because there's clear limits and boundaries to what you can do with them. Whereas our platform is highly flexible and configurable. You can use it just as well for all of your residential workflows as you can for commercial workflows. And if you do any field service, repair, and maintenance work, you can use us as well. So we truly are an all-in-one platform that will grow with the business over time as opposed to limit it over time. Yes?
I have a question for you for your ask. What's the valuation you consider for your business?
Sure, yeah. So we're raising 900,000 US. It's on a safe note with a 6 million US post-money valuation cap and a 20% discount. And we also are EBC registered as well. Online, okay, sorry, I think it was an online question. No, okay, I think, sorry, you had a question there. So.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the great presentation.
Thank
So
you.
what would be your scalability projection? I mean, what's going to happen after this stage of seeding and capital injection?
Yeah, so, oh, the slides aren't up anymore, but according to our projections, what the seed capital will do for us, yes, there they are, is it'll accelerate our revenue growth. Pretend there is a growth chart there. Yep, there we go. All right, so essentially what this will do for us is it'll help us exceed $500,000 by the end of this year. We're looking at hitting about 1.2 million by the end of next year and growing at about 100% year over year until we can raise our Series A. Right, and by the way, this is just subscription revenue. We are not forecasting service revenue or payment processing revenue. We just see all of that as gravy at this early stage. Right, question back there. Yeah.
So is it all workflow management, or do you do asset tracking as well as your HR stuff as well as project management?
Yeah, great question. So basically the question is, what really do our workflows cover? And the answer is yes, we do cover asset tracking as well. We do handle inventory management. We do a little bit of HR workflows. It really depends on what they need. The one clear boundary that we've set, though, is the accounting side. We are not trying to be an accounting tool. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. So all of our integrations to date that we've since launched have purely been with accounting tools. That's the only demand for integrations that we have at this point in time. Thank you. Do we have time for one more? Right.
Oh, sorry.
All right, I think we already have a mic there.
How do you price your subscriptions?
Oh, great question. So as of now, we charge based on groups of users. So we have different packages for 10, 25, 50, 100, 100 plus. On the lowest end of our customer base for teams with about 10, we charge about 3,000 per year in annual subscriptions. As we move upstream to a company that has about 100 users, we charge 24,000 a year. And actually our largest customer, which is our first enterprise customer, is paying us 84,000 a year in subscriptions. That's it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That was OnTraccr. Oh, don't go away just yet. We have some prizes here. You can choose the person who asked you the best question and award that person the book. And yeah, and for the rest of you, we do have, take a look at the chat function. You'll see a company feedback form. And again, if you're here in person, you can see the QR code. You could take a picture of that and answer the company feedback. Right. Next up, we're going to call on Mike Volker again, who's going to introduce the company that we should pay special attention to, Bioconscious Technology. So Mike, tell us.
I thought it was two. By all means, go ahead.
It says your name on it.
Oh, okay, sure. I'm happy to introduce them because we've invested in the company a couple of times. So What If is a big supporter of Bioconscious, and we really like what Amir and his team are doing. And it's all about glucose monitoring for diabetes, and as well as a predictor for other negative lifetime experiences. So I'm going to let Amir talk to you about it. Just by way of an anecdote, he wired me up a couple of weeks ago and I wore the monitor, and thankfully I'm still alive and it's working. So I was, I only had a few days to live, but here I am. So it's a really good investment because you can see it's working. Here, Amir, live up to that, will you?
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you, Mike. Hello, everyone. I'm Amir, and I wanted to start with a very simple question. And the question, if you guess this right, you will win a prize worth $199. The question is, can anybody guess how much the US healthcare system spends on diabetes every year?
$35 a month.
Trillions. Getting closer, hotter. Anybody? No? All right, well, to be fair, I didn't know either, so I had to look it up. So right now, the US government spends about $237 billion every year. They're trying to manage 50 billion patients per year, and they're dealing with a severe shortage of providers. Flash forward a few short years to 2030, they will be spending $622 billion every year. There's an additional loss in productivity as well. They will have to deal with 100 million patients, and nobody really knows how many healthcare providers they would need at that point to deal with the issue. We have developed technology that reduces the slope of the graph in 2 steps, saving their healthcare system millions of dollars. And by the way, this is not just a US problem. It's the same thing, although numbers are smaller in every other country. Today, we're only going to talk about step 1. We've developed an end-to-end technology that automates diabetes patient monitoring and management. So it does everything from data collection, charting the data, and progressing all the way to making a medical diagnosis. And then we pass that information to the clinic provider. This allows them to be more efficient with the patient population. So instead of randomly calling patients up, or worse yet, waiting for the patient to call the clinic to deal with the complication, the software can actually notify the clinic that there is an impending complication with this type of patient, and the clinic can actually reach out to them proactively. This essentially delivers a massive boost of productivity and efficiency for the clinic. It helps the patients with decision support, and there's very little engagement required on the clinical side. It's all done by the computer. But what's really good about this is that it unlocks a new source of revenue for the clinic. So the clinic doesn't have to incur a cost. This platform was designed so it allows the clinic to furnish chronic care management, remote patient monitoring codes in the US, and get paid on average of $150 per patient per month in terms of new revenue. And the beauty of it is that the computer is doing most of the work. So the clinic just has to engage with the data and say, yes, I agree with it. No, I don't agree with it. The platform itself has been patented and trademarked. We focus primarily in Texas because everything's bigger in Texas, and so is the diabetes population. We don't really have a pipeline issue. We have built a pipeline of 35,000 patients. We're no longer prospecting. The issue for us is just essentially moving these clinics through the pipeline. Right now, we have 5 happy clinics. They've used it. We have longitudinal data for them, and they are taking us to their networks that they're part of. One of the networks I can tell you about is Privia Network. They have more than 4 million patients, and we are going to pilot the project for them, developing a centralized system that monitors all their patients in one place. The product is doing $40K in ARR, and obviously it's integrated with major electronic health record systems. So eClinicalWorks, Cerner, Clinical, Athena, and we also cover all the sensors, major continuous glucose monitoring sensors on the market. We don't have any major or direct competitors. That's what this chart is essentially trying to get across, but the level of analysis that we offer, as well as the entire solution, right now doesn't really have any rivals on the market, which is really, really good for us. Our next milestone is to get to 1 million in ARR in 18 months. We've previously raised $4 million. We're raising another 2 million to pour fuel over fire. And the majority of the funds that we're going to raise are going to be spent on sales, marketing, as well as distribution of the product. The product itself has already been built. It's just a matter of getting it to clinics and getting it to clinics faster, essentially. And that's pretty much it. I look forward to your questions. Thank you.
What's the 40,000 ARR for?
The product is generating 40, sorry, what is the 40,000 ARR for?
For what? For how big is, what do you get? 40,000?
Yeah, so we charge $30 per patient per month. We have a certain number of patients on service already monetized, and that gives us 40,000 in annual recurring revenue. More than that, a little bit more than I think we crossed over 49,000, but that's the amount of revenue the product is making right now.
Oh, okay.
It's not aspirational, it's already true. This is roughly 289 patients, give or take. There is volume pricing as well. So we incentivize the clinic. If they move faster and they give us the volume, we drop that price a little bit, $30 per patient per.
So how do you do the assessment? Do you access the patient's data that's in the clinic? You put sensors on the patients. How are you going to?
That is a great question. So we work with, if I can access my appendices. Okay, so the patients are the standard of care requires the patient to wear a continuous glucose monitoring device. And that would be the sensor that the patient is actually wearing. So forgive this has cool animations on it. This is a PDF. So all the patients are wearing a continuous glucose monitoring device. This provides high frequency data of the patient's glucose. The issue is nobody looks at this data. They teach patients and doctors to use these devices as thermometers, essentially, right? If it's high, do this. If it's low, do that. That data flows upstream and it essentially is housed on the manufacturer's cloud. And your electronic medical record, health record system sits segregated from this. We've built this so it tucks right in the middle here. We get the data from the patient's device. We analyze it, generate a lot of meta labels and metadata that's useful in terms of diagnosis. And that flows upstream through electronic medical record and health record system. So we have essentially end-to-end access to read and write data. As long as the data that's coming from, okay, as long as the data coming from the sensor is reliable, we are device agnostic. So we work with all the major devices on the market. So Abbott, Dexcom, Medtronic, as long as the data is flowing out and it's reliable, we work with it.
You said 50 million patients. That's total diabetes patients in the US?
That includes type 1, type 2, diagnosed and undiagnosed, yes.
What percent of those actually monitor their sugars?
They all have to do it, but right now,
A lot don't.
yeah, so right now we are tied to, I don't know where the microphone is or the speaker is. So right now, there are 10 million patients on CGMs. And that's the number that Abbott has announced. So we're tied to that device because we rely on that. But right now we have 10 million patients, at least on the Abbott side, that are wearing these devices. I'm assuming there's another 10 million on the Dexcom side or equivalent to that. So roughly about half of that patient population is already wearing a CGM device. And that's our patient population.
Okay, I didn't think the penetration of CGMs was that high. I thought more were still doing finger pokes.
No, the major manufacturer that made those meters, if you will, which was Johnson & Johnson, their division LifeScan, they've actually sold that off and they're trying to put a what you would call a continuous glucose monitor or a type of technology like that on the market. Think of the old meters as your rotary phone, right? You still have a certain population of people sticking to them or trying to use them. But even if you go to the drugstore, you would no longer see aisles and aisles of these meters. They have very few and they're all transitioning to what they call smart meters.
Appreciate it. Being diagnosis, do you open a risk to these clinics for malpractice or any of those things, or how do we mitigate that, seeing that Texans love to sue?
Yes. So there are a couple of issues that we have to work within. One of them is right now we can't really tell patients a lot of things. We have to tell the clinic that, and the clinic has to decide whether those are correct or not. So we've actually built safeguards specifically for that. And they're like we monitor the patient's time in range, the amount of time they spend on a daily basis with a healthy glucose range. If we're delivering any type of decision support, as soon as we see that time and range go down, we actually lock those and ask the healthcare provider to step in. They do happen, but they don't happen very often. So it's less than 4 or 5% of the time, but there is human oversight required.
Yeah.
Last question.
So we have a question online. It says, I use Library 3. What benefit you provide that I cannot get from my doctor watching my numbers?
Sorry, what was the question? Can you read that again?
Okay. So it says I use Library 3.
Library 3, yeah.
Library 3, yeah. What benefit you provide that I cannot get from my doctor watching my numbers?
That's a great question. So don't tell your doctor I said that, but your doctor has a bunch of patients. They don't get to do your data in time. And when they do, they're going to look at one first reading, last reading, one in the middle, and that's it. This is an AI algorithm designed to do one thing, and it does that thing really, really well. It's designed to go through the data, figure out what you're struggling with, and tell your doctor that that is what they should be checking with you. That's number one. Number two, in terms of decision support, we predict what your sensor is going to record 12 hours before it records it. So if there's a nocturnal event, we will let you know before you go to sleep, so you can onboard a little bit more carbs, a little bit less insulin, sleep through the night. Your sensor is going to wake you up in the middle of the night and ask you to essentially just correct your sugars, blood sugar levels. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Amir, you can choose who asked the best question and award them the Innovate BC book. And for the rest of you, like I said before, there's QR codes on the tables. Please do company feedbacks. And if you're online.
The person online asked the best question.
Oh, okay, then Wendy will make sure that happens. Okay, great. So that was an online question that got the last prize. So, and speaking of online, take a look at the chat. There's probably a link there for you to do company feedback. So either take a picture of the QR code that's on your table, or if you're online, take a look at chat. We all love the feedback. Remember, we're all looking to improve every time. Okay. Our next full presentation is INHUB Farms. I'm going to call up their angel sponsor, Frank Leffler, who will give us a little preview of why he likes INHUB Farms so much that he's their angel sponsor.
Yeah, INHUB Farms is a really interesting and exciting company that is helping to grow more healthy mushrooms in the Lower Mainland, and is doing that in a very cost-effective way because they automated the majority of the process to grow these mushrooms. Typically, the mushrooms are the medium are imported from China, and so getting that production actually fully locally and sustainably grown is a wonderful business opportunity. The team has big plans. They currently are operating a plant in Vernon, and they're planning to build the first site in the Vancouver area. I've been following and mentoring the team through Foresight for the past year, and excited about the progress that they made to date. So over to Patrick.
Thanks, Frank. Hi, everyone. I'm Patrick, CEO of INHUB Farms. We grow wild mushrooms in the city. Over 95% of mushrooms are imported. Imports are substandard quality. We need a domestic supply to meet the demand of the mushroom boom. Our solution, cutting-edge mushroom cultivation, utilizing robotics to grow high-quality domestic mushrooms with high profit margins. Our hands-free mushroom farms will be deployed in cities across the country. We have a sustainable forestry operation, autonomous growing systems with end-to-end robotic processes. We built the scale into any warehouse. Our mushrooms are traceable from tree to fork, grown in the city, identical to wild harvested. That's our chicken of the woods mushrooms. They look like chicken and taste like chicken, with 21% protein and all essential amino acids. We're growing this wild mushroom at scale. In the next 5 years, our farm will save 80 million single-use plastic bags, 56 million food miles, 400,000 tons of CO2. It's like taking 100,000 vehicles off the road. Plus, we will improve 200,000 acres of forests. That's 7 times the size of Vancouver. We raised 1.5 million in 2019. We completed a pilot in 2021, got a LOI to supply Costco, and now we just raised another 250K. Companies from China, they dominate the market and they have zero traceability. Domestic companies, they lack automation and they can't compete on price. To illustrate the market size, each Costco store represents 700K of revenue a year for us. There are over 700 locations in North America. That's a sales potential of $500 million. And Costco, they really only have 10% of the total market share. Our sales are done via supply agreements with national chains and distributors, and we plan to expand to 14 farms in the next 6 years covering, the biggest cities in the US and Canada. The NRC is working with us, helping to patent our tech. For 2023, our goals is to ramp up the production of our current facility, set up a second farm in Vancouver, and take our process automation from 40% to 75%. We have some great partners and government support. Our founder team is solid. We have an all-star advisory board. We've got people from Terramera, BMO Radical, Tentree, and Prana Organics. We are raising 500K bridge round for a common shares at a very low 4 million valuation to start supplying Costco and create some hype. Next, we are going to raise 4 million at a 20 million valuation to set up in the Vancouver area by the end of this year. INHUB Farms is food and forestry for a net zero future. Join us and be part of the solution, because the solution is delicious.
Hey, thank you very much, Patrick. That was INHUB Farms. Questions from the audience, either online or in person? Abdul.
The runner really is running.
Sorry, you didn't speak to the automation. We didn't see any part of the automation. What kind of automation are we talking about here? Is it the preparation? Is it the harvesting? What is it?
We don't show our automation because it's proprietary and we're working on the patents right now. We're automating the whole process. So far, we've automated the process up until the harvesting of the mushroom. So no other company has that. And now we are going to work with SFU to automate the final part, which is actually the easier part.
I have a question for you. So you raised 500K for 4 million valuation. The next is 4 million for 20 million valuation. How do you see jumping from 5 million to 20 million?
Well, it's because right now it's a bridge round. Like it's really low, 4 million. We're worth a lot more than that. We have an 8,000 square foot factory full of tech. It's just to get us to start supplying Costco, and then we're going to do the 20 million.
So how many years it takes for the next valuation that you are forecasting?
We're already talking to investors for that, and we're planning on doing that before the end of the year.
Thank you.
As an individual, if I wanted to own one of these facilities, do you sell with a percentage take back, or how do you do that? Or do you not sell at all?
No, we just operate our farms, and we want to scale really fast, and that's the best way to do it.
I'm not quite understanding your answer, but to operate quickly, do you follow the McDonald's format where you franchise out to individuals, then buy back after, or you're saying the company keeps all of the facilities?
Yeah, we keep the facilities and scale it out. We're building a team to be able to do it and, scale fast.
Okay.
We have an online question.
So it's in the chat. It says, I love eating.
Maybe I can read the question if you're having mic problems.
Yeah, go ahead. Read the question.
So it says, I love eating Abbott Butchery ground beef made from mushrooms. Are you planning to do any ready-to-eat products? Well, that's our chicken of the woods mushroom. It's a mushroom that's on the market currently. Everything is sourced from the wild, and depending on the year, and there's good years, bad years, climate change, bad. So we're the only company that has the tech to be able to grow these at scale. And they're called chicken of the woods because they taste like chicken and it looks like chicken, and it's one ingredient, and it has all essential amino acids, 21 grams of protein. That's our alt meat product.
Cool. Question for you. Is this like a mediumless growing solution, kind of like the vertical farms that are out there? I mean, you can't show your tech, I get it, but if you're in city, medium's always a problem.
We have our own forestry operation where we improve the forest. We work with the Ministry of Forests and we grow on trees in the city. Inside warehouses.
Hi, I saw your presentation at the Angel Farm last week, and I really liked the part you were talking about your chicken product. Where can I buy it?
We don't have it on the market yet.
When
Now
will
we're hopefully by the end of this year. It's because we only have 8,000 square foot of foot space. We don't have the capacity to get into the commercial production of those right now.
Thanks.
Yes, congratulations on the Costco LOI. Is that more of a sort of a sample, a test case, or are they going to stock one store? Like, what's the scope or size of that type of agreement?
They want to do a 3-month trial with oyster mushrooms, and we have an LOI to supply shiitake mushrooms in all of Western Canada.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you very much. That was INHUB Farms. You can provide your feedback
Thank you.
to INHUB Farms with the link that's in the chat if you're online, or take a picture of the QR. Patrick, before you go, who asked the best question so we can award them a book?
I guess the question like on what we grow.
Okay, who is that? Will identify yourself and you can come and have your book. I think that was Abdul.
It's a question about growing medium.
Oh, that was
It's James.
Yeah. Right, excellent. We want to make sure that the prizes go to the rightful recipients. Okay, we're now on to the final full presentation. That's asset market. And I'm calling up Dave Thomas to tell us why we should pay attention to asset market.
Great, thank you very much, Thelsel. So my pleasure to introduce Jeff Davis from Asset Market. It's a relatively new company. It's been around for a couple of years. It has a good customer base, both in the United States and also in Europe. And what it's doing is it's working on accelerating critical infrastructure. Good examples would be telco, but more than anything, things like electric vehicle charging stations and things like that. They have a very robust sales funnel, and they are raising money now to increase sales, spend the majority of the money on sales efforts in the United States. So I'm going to turn it over to Jeff. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave, for the introduction, and thanks, VANTEC, for hosting me. I was on the 90 seconds last time, 5 minutes this time, so I'll sit you down for an hour in June. So yeah, I'm Jeff Davis. Sorry, do I have my little pointer here? Is that perfect? Great, excellent. I'm Jeff Davis. I'm the founder and CEO of Asset Market, and as Dave mentioned, our job is to accelerate the delivery of useful critical infrastructure. So there's two quite different industries on here, but both these industries are going through seismic change. So mobility is going through a transition to cleaner fuels, particularly electric vehicles. Telecoms, wireless telecoms is going through a transition from 4G to 5G, which essentially is a new generation of data superhighways. And both of them have common problems, so that those technologies only work if there's a very large number of devices that are installed in the outside world, in the tens of millions of devices. The problem is that there's a huge challenge, an infrastructure challenge around where do all those devices go and how do you get the right commercial arrangements between the network installers of devices and the landowners. These processes are almost entirely manual. It's slow and expensive to go through with the process called site acquisition. Our job is to solve that problem. So Asset Market is a B2B software as a service solution. We connect, and sorry, there's a little screen that's popped up over part of the slide, but that's okay. We connect network providers like EV charging firms or telecoms carriers, IoT firms with the owner of lands, building and structures that can host those devices. And on our platform, you can do three things. One is we have proprietary analytics to figure out what's the best place to put millions of devices. Second of all, we have a nice digital e-commerce process to secure the right commercial leases and technical agreements between device installers and landowners. And third, we have asset management capabilities to handle things like contract renewals, invoicing, maintenance coordination over the life of deployments, which tends to be about 15 to 20 years. So one way you can think of us is like the Airbnb for EV charging or Airbnb for 5G antennas. Right, so why are we really doing this? First and foremost, we're about delivering better infrastructure to benefit communities, whether that be EV charging or improved digital connectivity. But there's some very specific things that we can do. So one is our proof points are showing us from existing customers that we're able to reduce the capital costs of deploying these devices by 30% through our analytics and better site selection, which can mean a savings of between $10,000 and $100,000 per device. So that's a huge saving in what are two very capital intensive industries. Second of all, we can streamline the site acquisition process to agree where charges and other devices go from 12 months to 3 months, and we can reduce the administrative cost of that process, both for device installers and landlords, by 75%. These are the sorts of changes that make expensive technology that's borderline commercial be actually commercially viable, therefore accelerating the deployment of the networks. We also have an environmental purpose. So ultimately, by helping reduce the cost of the deployment of EV chargers substantially, that means that we can deliver more charging capacity for the money. By reducing the time and cost of site acquisition, we remove barriers to charging and antenna deployment, which means technologies get delivered faster. So collectively, we believe that we'll be able to contribute to about 13 million tons of carbon abatement if we achieve our plan by 2030. Right, so both e-mobility and telecoms are huge industries. The part of the industries that we serve out of the tens of billions per year in capital that's being spent are both billion-dollar industries. So the market for what we do is huge. Our modest to moderate plan takes us to 15 million in ARR by 2027, 50 million by 2030. We're a B2B SaaS business. We look like we're going to be tracking towards 80% gross margin. So we are a business that can grow very quickly with modest capital requirements. Our current plan takes us to a 40, for anybody that joins our seed round now, a 40 times return on investment by 2030. So as Dave mentioned, we're a young company. We have just 2 years under our belt, but obviously we have already we have some great proof points. So we have this year our revenue is about 350K. Cumulative revenue over the course of our firm so far is about $500,000. That's coming from 25 kind of larger scale customers. We have over 330 assets already on the platform. We have a great team. This photo is already out of date. We have 10 people, experienced entrepreneurs, industry experts, and technologists. So we have the team to take us to substantial growth. And we've also had some recognitions. We were in top 11 of New Ventures BC last year. Last week, we were fortunate to be awarded at the prize in the competition from Vancouver Angels for Climate Solutions. So it's nice to get a little bit of recognition from the community. This is our customer base. Without going through details, we have a nice dispersion of customers across industries and across geographies in different geographies and countries. Our products are gone well. Our reputation with our customers are very high. Customer referrals are leading to the substantial growth in our pipeline. Our current pipeline sits at 2 million in qualified deals and is growing quickly. So ultimately, if we look a few years down the road, our job is to digitize tens of millions or hundreds of millions of assets, to run our analytics using AI, to figure out the best places to fill network gaps in network infrastructure, to use automated matchmaking to connect network device installers with landowners to encourage the deployment of useful infrastructure, and to do it all at a fraction of today's cost. So against our current plans, we see ourselves facilitating the delivery of 17 million devices worldwide, underpinning $500 million in infrastructure and saving 150 million in capital costs in the next 4 years. We're raising our seed rounds for 1.5. We have initial check-in. We have a few other confirmed investors, still a little bit of space in the round. So if you're interested, then please come talk to us. As Dave mentioned, that'll primarily go to fueling our sales growth and growing into our friends south of the border in the United States. So please come and see me if you're interested. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Could you talk about a little bit about the asset type distribution and how that translates into your revenue? So you had telecom and then you had EV and a few others. And if you could shed some light there. Thank you.
Sure. So there's two separate questions. They're good questions, maybe worthy of a book. So our assets are land, buildings, and structures like streetlights or bus shelters. So the highest percentage of our assets are streetlights and bus shelters, but we have tens of thousands of land and buildings on there as well. You can put telecoms equipment, IoT equipment, or an EV charger on certain of those assets. If we look into the future, the EV charging we think is probably our single biggest engine for growth. So that industry underpins about 45% of our revenue in our forecasts, with telecoms being second, IoT digital following. Yeah.
So I have two questions. One question is about, like, if I'm an EV manufacturer, do you do any homework that when you recommend, okay, this is the place that you need to put your EV, and this is, we can assure me that I'm actually going to make money. My EV not going to go somewhere that no one going to use it. So do you do any due diligence to find those spots for the EV manufacturer? That's number one. Number two question, I didn't quite understand, how do you make money? Like, I understand that you are like a middleman, like a Airbnb. What is the, like, you get commission? How do you make your money?
Yeah, so I'll answer the second question first. So we make our money through a software subscription fee, so an annual recurring fee, plus a commission. So it's a combination between the two. And the commission is much like a real estate agent would make. In terms of the first question, so the way I'd sum up that question is called utilization. Utilization is a huge problem for chargers because they can cost somewhere between, a DC fast charger is somewhere between 70 grand and 250 grand to deliver. So when you see them sitting idle, it is a real problem. So a lot of our analytics are focused on putting them in places that A, are going to have enough demand, B, are completely places to park, and C, are going to be places that are safe and comfortable for people to go and spend some time. So that's a key part of our analytics, and our job there is to ultimately move utilization, which obviously is a huge driver of commercial viability of a charger, from negative to positive. So that's a key focus in what we offer. Yeah.
Sorry, so then a question is, so basically you are a marketplace for between the landowners and the providers.
Yes.
How do you solicit your both ends? Do you go out asking for, like, from the landlords or the owners of the land, or?
Yeah, so slightly different in telecoms versus EV. So for EV, we're finding that folks looking to deploy chargers, so large charging firms, for example, will pay us purely for analytics, regardless of the site acquisition process. So that's great, because that allows us to scale fast and cover a lot of markets. For the site acquisition, where deals are done and devices are being deployed, we focus on accumulating the inventory from the assets, so signing on major cities or large commercial portfolios of properties. And then when we do that, then the demand comes from the EV charging firms or the carriers. So the transaction side of the business is inventory led. Sorry, I'm just repeating the question. The question is there a way of getting recurring revenue off the transactions, if that's fair? So obviously our software subscriptions are recurring. The model we have for the transaction fees is we take a percentage of the lease. So typically these leases are 10 to 20 years, and we take a percentage over the course of the lease. So and that's how we build up our ARR. Yeah, good question. Thanks.
So
last question.
Yeah, how many locations does it make sense for someone to engage with you guys? Like, if it's a small charging firm, 10 locations, 20 locations, where's the start point?
I mean, in a way, if they're using our analytics and they pay the license fee, it doesn't really matter to us. It can be kind of a smaller company, provide the cost of sale is low. We're targeting the mid and larger charging firms. And by definition in North America, the telecoms firms are medium or large. So we're ultimately B2B on sort of the medium larger side of the business in terms of demand. Good question. Yeah. Great. I think we're good. And do I need to pick? There's a lot of good questions. Okay. You know what? I'm going to pick the one around utilization, just because I'm very passionate about that issue. Whoever asked that question around charger utilization, that might have been you, sir. Was that you? We can yeah.
Fight.
Let's go with that one. Sorry. Okay.
Which gentleman?
I think it was that chat. Okay.
Sorry if I got that wrong. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, that concludes all the presentations for today. And the next time we meet will be on June 7th, and it will be themed to Life Science and Health Sciences VANTEC meeting. So hopefully we will see you all back then. Before we sign off, I want to thank the VANTEC crew. There's been a lot of work behind the scenes, starting from how you were greeted at the door by Ayush, Peter, and Charles. And Roger's been doing the running with all the questions. We've got the tech team, Wendy and Jackson, and of course, my colleagues, Frank and Kathy Mack behind the scenes, really behind the scenes in the tech to bring this meeting all together for you. So really give them a big hand because they work really hard. So I'm Felz Ali, and hopefully I'll see you next month. Thank you very much.